Hello, I'm back. It's now 3:38 p.m. So, I'm having unwanted thoughts now. And so, I still haven't gotten any sleep, but and the reason why I was waiting for a phone call, and the lady never really returned my call. I had to call her back. So, there's this temp job assignment that they said it won't come up until February or March. And so I'm not going to say the name of the company, the name of the temp agency. It's a different one. But it's one of the agencies I worked a couple of years ago. And so I almost, they almost didn't rehire me because when I worked at when I worked a dishwashing job at one of the hotels downtown that is now closed down. And so back in a couple of years ago, almost 3 years ago, it was kind of somewhat when I first got here. So I was able to land a temp service job less than a month of being in Pensacola. So they had this man, I think his name was John, a black man named John, and I think he's from Alabama. So at that job at that hotel, um, well, I can't say the name of the hotel because I don't want the online perps to try to go and track and try to figure out which hotel she worked at or what temp service she worked at. They probably already know, but um, so I experienced workplace mobbing doing a dishwashing job at that place, and I was wondering, I was the only female doing dishwashing, and they had like 3 or 4 guys that were cooks, and only one of the guys was nice to me, while the other few guys, they acted extremely strange, and the manager on duty acted a little bit strange too. And so I worked there for a month, and there was a brief moment I was working both there and at the YMCA. And I'm like, woohoo, I finally get to have a moment where I could work 2 jobs. But the hotel job, dishwashing job, was just on the weekends, while um, the other job was weekend and weekday. And so, if I was working at the YMCA, I was working at the pools, and then I would go to the dishwashing job later on. So then, I would do the dishwashing job, and I would have to clock in at 4 p.m., 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they gave me very little dishes between 4 and 9 p.m. And I'm just standing around doing not much of nothing. And then then they would send in, wait till after 11 o'clock to send in like will look like thousands and thousands of dishes, and then expect me to get it all done within 1 hour. And then they wouldn't even tell me in advance that, hey, we got a lot of, I'm to just, be waiting around wondering when are the dishes coming. But they wouldn't even notify me that there was a special event or anything like that. But they expect me to get thousands and thousands of dishes washed within like 30 minutes to an hour. And so the dishes wouldn't be washed until like done, the whole like the kitchen area wouldn't be cleaned until like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. After me cleaning everything all by myself. And then Mr. John, one day he came up to me and started to try to tell me that, girl, they getting ready to fire you. They want to get rid of you. Cause he said, well, they said that you work too slow and that you be trying to cheat your hours and that you always be on your phone all the time and stuff like that. And I'm like, what? I'm like, that's really crazy, because then, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I wasn't even talking on my phone. I wasn't even doing YouTube videos like that. I was doing YouTube videos, but not at work, not during that time, So if they falsely accuse me, and the higher managers, higher up managers, that HIGHER, higher up managers that were hardly even there, made all these false accusations against me, behind my back, and just for an excuse to try to get rid of me. And so when I heard, them conspiring to have me fired, that's when I quit. And I did let them know that I quit. So, and of course, the same guy who tried to tell me all this stuff, I figured that, but he acted like a narcissistic control freak, fake coworker perp that, was one of those people who did a horrible, shitty job and then try to dictate how I should do my job, and I'd be like, go back at your workspace. Don't come over here. You're supposed to be working in housekeeping. And so he tried to, he was working in housekeeping, and he was a dirty guy. He was mentally off and dirty himself, But he tried to tell me, oh, why don't you get on with us, because we get paid $400 a week and we work full time. But I figured I couldn't do the housekeeping because of making the beds and stuff like that. And people talking about making the beds tight and stuff. So I did not realize that when I did tell those people that I quit, because if they were that I heard that they were conspiring to, like, they wanted to fire me and get rid of me so bad and stuff like that. And then they falsely accused me of cheating hours and stuff like that. When, do you really expect somebody to get probably like 20,000 dishes plus pots and pans cleaned in an hour? I'm not a damn robot. So they falsely accused me of cheating hours, and, they falsely accused me of cheating hours just to get more money and stuff like that, and made just all kinds of lies and false accusations against me. So I told them directly before I left that I quit. So they lied and put on, they put on false record that I abandoned the job assignment. They made it like, falsely made it like as if I abandoned the job assignment. And I'm like, no wonder I didn't hear anything from this company. And, so it was a lady that I talked to earlier, and because she told me that she was going to call me back, and I'm waiting for her to call me back. And so it's been I waited like an hour and no response. And I'm like, well, yes, she must have believed the smear campaigns and lies and false rumors about me. And I'm like, that's probably why she's not answering. But then I tried again, like another 20 minutes later. No, I'm sorry, another 45 minutes later. And so she said that the previous job had mentioned that she said that the previous job mentioned about me you know, and sometimes you don't, when these temp services, even Global Staffing Solutions in New Orleans made up lies on me. And I heard that temp service, more than permanent jobs, they're the main participators in gang stalking, and sometimes temp service is the only jobs a targeted individual can get. And so I experienced severe gang stalking and workplace mobbing in my hometown, New Orleans, and not being treated fairly and stuff like that, and just being abused. And but then at the YMCA downtown, shortly before they had that set up to have me wrongfully fired and banned, they falsely accused me of cheating hours and logging in at 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, how would I do something like that if I'm not physically in the building at that time? So then the lady, Miss Vanessa, who was working there, she admitted that they made a mistake. But she even showed me on the computer, and it's like, I don't know who would do that. Because how could I, if I wasn't in the building, how could I log in or log out anything? If I was not even in the building, I mean, the place is closed. So I wouldn't even know who was doing that. Maybe it was her doing that, and then try to, gaslight me and part of the gang stalking. And then later on that day, after that false accusation, later on that day was when that lady, Miss D, set me up. I mean, she picked the argument with me. And Miss Vanessa just sat there and let Miss D make false accusations against me when it was Miss Vanessa that moved Miss D's cart. And Miss D falsely accused me of moving that cart. And Miss D would be like in her 70s and bully, harass, and threaten me that if I ever, don't you touch this cart, and try to frighten and intimidate me and stuff. But, they all sided with Miss D and defended her and took, when I stood up for myself and stood up to her, and so then they wrongfully fired me and talked about my behavior. But this lady sitting here threatening me, but y'all gonna talk about my behavior that's scary just because I told everybody off for for treating me unjustly. I mean, I had to deal with narcissistic gang stalking and bullying. And then 2 years later, nothing has changed. Everybody at the YMCA, just about all of them are perps. Every damn body. So I would never set foot in that never have the desire to want to set foot in that YMCA ever again for the rest of my life. Ever. But I never been such a gym person anyway. I never been a gym person or the type of person who have a membership, because I already told y'all why I don't really mess with gym memberships, because they want to try to, they're not even anything important, but they want to try to steal ownership of your bank account. So, and they want to yank out money when they feel like it, and they won't allow you to cancel the service and stuff like that. So that's why I don't deal with gyms. So one of my jobs, I called Fake Sky Zone, and they militantly didn't answer. It's like nobody answered. And then another one of my jobs, I called up, and the lady was very rude to me when I called to ask about my tax documents, and she was rude enough in a way that made me, my eyes started to fill up with tears, and I almost wanted to cry. And I figured that, was she acting this way because she believed the small smear campaigns, false rumors, and lies about me. So and so then I called back, and and she seemed like she was frustrated with me. And so she said, no, I have to have all this out of here by 4 o'clock. And she said she had to have, she said, I have, over 400 employees, and I need to be out of here by 4 o'clock. And I need to get this done before 4 o'clock. And she got mad at me and said that, that the phone keeps ringing and stuff like that. So I'm like, well, but it's like she never treated me like that before, ever. I mean, this lady used to love me. But of course, they will lie and say that they don't have an issue with you and stuff like that. But I really think it's a personal thing of her treating me that way because of the false rumors, lies, and smear campaigns about me and stuff. And so anyway, with that temp service job, I'm kind of disappointed because I thought that the job was going to start like maybe sometime this week. But they said it won't start until like mid-February or March. But the thing is, it's like good and bad because it's another janitorial, but I guess they said it's more technical. But they said it's going to be like 7 days a week and $12 an hour, and that we're supposed to get time and a half overtime, and that job is supposed to be $25 an hour plus, overtime and stuff. So that would be like 84 hours a week to work. But that should be able, I'm going to try to, I mean, she said that the lady had told me when I called back, she said that since it was a couple of years ago, that the new manager did approve that I can get, she said that she was going to try to see if they can get me onboarded and stuff like that, but a job like that can help me. Wow. So I calculated that, that way, that might be like over $10,000 a month in gross pay. And it's like, that could get me a place in a car, real quick. And I never got paid that much. $25 an hour, I never in my life got paid that much. So she said I'm going to have to go through some training first. And then after that, then go and get the job assignment. But I kept saying that tired of all these cleaning jobs and stuff. But but I thought it was going to be immediate. But if it's available, I'll take it still. Just because I say I'm tired of doing it doesn't mean I'm gonna stop doing it. But so I need to find some job opportunity where I can get hired this week, or where I can at least start this week. But it's just Monday, so and then the way it is with the gang stalking and stuff, I probably could secure a job this week or next week, and then end up working for a little while, and who knows what will happen, dealing with the the gang stalking and stuff. And I don't even know if I for sure will get that job opportunity. But if that's the case, I can probably make over $30,000 within 3 months. And I wouldn't need anything or anybody, So we'll see. I don't know yet. But there's no guarantee that I will get hired for that position. So, pulling my hair out. But then they got these other sales jobs that said that they're interested in me. But I'm scared because I'm afraid of making another blank trip, and they say, well, you have to be experienced already. So, it's really scary. I hate making all these blank Uber trips and stuff like that. And before I go, I wanted to say that I checked out those scooters, and I researched it a little bit online, and they said that's $1 plus 39 cents a minute. So that would be like $23 or $24 an hour to ride the scooters. And so it's like, that's pointless, because that, if I don't know how much it would cost for me to ride around and do DoorDash or Uber Eats. So I don't want it to be counterproductive or a waste of time if I rented the scooters, and the scooters was if I rent the scooter and the scooter is $24 an hour, that's more than an hour of work. So the scooter thing is out the question. But those same scooters, I heard that you can buy them. I don't know but I heard that you can buy them for about $600. But the thing is, I heard that you have to order them and have them shipped. So, but I wouldn't have enough money to try to get one of those scooters, because me trying to pay to stay here. But if I would have had a high enough paying job, then maybe I can afford the scooter. But I don't know if that will work out or not. But I wouldn't know if I can ride the scooter long term or short term, or how to charge it, or how does everything go. I don't know. But it looks like you can only ride no more than 15 miles per hour by law. And I don't know if you can ride over bridges and stuff. But the scooter thing is kind of like the bike thing to me. I'm scared of falling off the scooter, like in the same way of being scared of falling off. Because I fell off a bike. I very horrible with riding up and downhill on bikes. I can only ride on flat land with bikes. But I wish I had a way to get a car. So that's all I have to say for the moment. But I don't know if I'll do a video later on today, because I know I did quite a few videos earlier today. But all I know is, off and on, since this is the hood, I've been hearing like almost consistent and constant loud bass and loud music. And I'm freaking sick and tired of it. But, this is considered the hood. So many fake, ignorant, druggy thugs, who are not real gangsters, but act like blasting loud music makes you a real thug. So I'm going to go for the moment, and I'll see y'all. Pray for me that I get a job.